welcome back to 4 Foot Friday. My name is 4 Foot Nut, and today we are going to be talking about one player, and that is Russ-diculous, Mr. Russ Smith. He is turning it up right now in the Chinese League. He had a game where he scored 81 points. He's averaging 61 points. Yet in the NBA, he was rejected. It might be because he's 6 foot tall. Maybe it is, maybe it isn't. You know, you have Isaiah Thomas, you have Tyler Ulis, two players. You have Frank Mason. Maybe he's going to become a good short player. But 6 foot tall, a little small for a point guard, a little small for a basketball player. However, that does not mean he shouldn't be in the NBA right now with how well he is doing in the Chinese League. We're going to start out with the first step in his career, which was college basketball, where he played for 4 years there, and he was a senior when they actually moved to the ACC. So it really shows how before he even went to Louisville, he committed there before they even offered him a scholarship. If they offered him a scholarship, no matter what, he was going to sign with Louisville. Now, he only averaged 2.2 points in his freshman year of college, but he had that mentality, a mentality where he wanted to push himself more than any other player. He had the mentality to work for it. And by junior year, guess what? He was averaging 18.7 points, which is 16.5 more points than from his freshman to his junior year. And in 2013, he led the Louisville team as a point guard. The point guard, you have to be a leader. You have to have a good point guard in the team. He led the 2013 Louisville team to win an NCAA championship. However, guess what? Louisville got stripped of that. However, it still shows how he's done a great job to, lead that team past, all expectations in that tournament. And the 6 foot tall point guard really showed up for Louisville, and that's why they won against other teams in March Madness. And then he moved to the NBA. He had rough periods with the Grizzlies and Pelicans. Wasn't terrible, but he was just kind of a bench warmer. They weren't using him. So guess what? He got sent down to the D League, which is confusing because of the fact that he was a great player for the Louisville team, and now he's being sent down to the D League. However, in the D League, he set a record for 62 points, and he didn't even get a call-up. He wasn't noticed. That 62-point game, after that you expect him to be a point guard coming off the bench for a team. 62 points in the D League could translate to 30 points in the NBA. Even 15 points in the NBA is good for a backup point guard. It's great for a backup point guard. And after that, maybe you start putting him to the starting lineup. But no one noticed him, so he went to Turkey. He had a bad spell there, and then he went to China. Now in China, he's averaging 61 points and he had an 81-point game in this Chinese league. And it just shows how he thinks he needs to be on an NBA court. He said, I want to be on an NBA court, even if I'm a bench warmer. And you see how he has that mentality. Once he gets into that NBA team, he's going to work for it. He's going to push himself harder than any other player and become that starter for any team in the NBA, whether it's the 76ers or a team that has an older player like the San Antonio Spurs. And it really just shows, for me, I want someone to sign him up because I'm a college basketball fan as much as I am an NBA fan, and I know many people that are college fans. And the fact is, everyone knew if you're a college fan, you know in 2013, Russ Smith was a major part of the reason they won that national championship. And he was just never recognized for his awards, a 62-point game, a record in the D League, now the G League, but you have 62 points and you don't get the call-up? That's a little confusing to me because he's such a great player, and for him not to be noticed and then to go off to China and average 61 points, he has games where he scores 60 points and he thinks, that's not as good as my other games I play, that's one of my worst. Like, you score 60 points and you think that's one of your worst games. It's crazy to think that. I don't understand it. I really think that I think that Russ Smith should be playing in the NBA. And I think that NBA teams are making a dumb decision. You can get him, even if you're the Knicks, the Timberwolves, Warriors, any team in the NBA, the Miami Heat. Sign him up. Play him as a backup point guard. Play him as even a bench warmer at point guard, because he has that mentality, and in 5 years he could become your starting point guard on that team. So anyway, that's going to do it for today's 4-Foot Friday. Thank you so much for listening to today's 4-Foot Friday. I'll be back with another video. Have an amazing day.